Okay, welcome to tonight's chart focus. First chart I wanted to have a look at is RHC. I've picked a few sort of different charts tonight just to give a few different examples of possible trade setups. Okay, so this is RHC daily, and I particularly want to look at just this last little week or so here, where you can see it's fairly tightly bunched little group of days here. No trend appearing at all. What I want to do is move on to an hourly chart and just show how tradable this actual section can be for a day trader. So I'm going to go to intraday. Now this is an hourly chart for the last 1, 2, almost 3 weeks. I just want to pick a line, say here at $15.60, and then maybe support down here at $15.30. It's quite obviously in a sideways range over this period, but with a really good actual price range. So it's finding resistance around the 1570 mark, sometimes as high as 1590 there, so it's pretty volatile. Support most of the time around the 1530 mark, again gets much lower. So what I'm just looking at is if we take a chunk in the middle, and let's say quite a safe chunk, let's say a 20-cent chunk between say 1560 and 1540 even, or let's go to 1530, a 30-cent chunk, 1560 to 1530. Look how many times we could have traded that range once it falls back into the range. There's one range here, so it's broken through the 60, dipped, tried to break again and then fell back in, so you might have got in around there somewhere, dipped under the 40 and then bounced. So that hasn't hit the 30, but there was definitely a trade there. On the way back up from 40, you've got another trade back up, and you'd be out once you hit the 60. If you kept some kind of a trailing stop, you might have got more of this. Next day it looks like it's gapped down. There's your entry under 60, right back down to 1530. And I'm sure some of these you'd probably get stopped out, but I just wanted to show you how many possible trades there are. Here last Monday it broke up through the 1570, then dipped again, and a nice strong 3-hour dip through the 1530. And if you were just trading this range, as soon as it broke this 1530, you'd be looking for any sort of trailing stop to get you out as soon as it breaks back up. On the way back up, 1530, all the way back up to through 1560 again, so you could have traded a portion or all of that. With stops, on an example like this, if your entry was once it dips under 1530 and it breaks above, I'd suppose you could set your stop as to how low it got below 1530, and if it breaks that, you're out. So for example, in this one it gets down to just under 1520. If your entry was 1530, giving it a fair bit of room, so you'd obviously position size accordingly. But that run, yep, back up through the 1560 again, failed just under 70. On the way back down, triggers the 1530 yet again. On the way back up, triggers the 1560 yet again. Most of those you wouldn't have got stopped out just looking at our current rule, but this is, like I said, an hourly chart, so a lot we'd have to probably go into a 30-minute or 15-minute to just get a bit more idea of the movement. But as you can see, there's quite a lot of trades within this range between the 1530 and the 1560, and a 30-cent trade in that middle is a nice little day trade. Brings us till today. It's hit 1570, hasn't kicked through, and it's closed at 1565. So I've taken a small short here. My stop will be a break of back here, or this one here. So we're looking at 1575, 1574. So I'll probably give it to a little above that, and then I'll be out. I'll be on the way on profit. Be looking for that 1530. If it gets down to 1540 and then looks like it's starting to bounce, I'd just take my profits and run. So who knows what the US will do overnight and where RHC will open, but nice little channel trade there to take advantage of while it lasts, and that won't last forever. I'm sure in the coming days it'll break that range and form a new trend, but at the moment it's very tradable. Alright, let's have a look at a couple more stocks. First one I wanted to have a look at is DML. That's the 12-month daily. Nice candle on this one today. Let's go back into a 6 month or something. There's a 6 month. It's a nice candle on this one today. Big long tail, so it's got as low as $1.03. Bounced quite hard. Hasn't got to as high as open. It opened at $1.10.5, could only close at $1.09. So good volume, decent volume, best volume in a month or so. The first thing we're looking for tomorrow is a break of today's high. So we're looking at that 11.5 break. Now we could probably throw some fibs on this just to see whether it did bounce off any sort of legitimate fib level. Pretty close. Drag the fib from the high there back to that low in July, and it breached the 62 fib, but didn't close below it, interestingly. So looks like a decent sort of spot for it to bounce. I've taken a small position as that started to bounce, and will add if it breaks that $11.5 resistance for today with any sort of volume. My stop will be a low of today's candle. Alright, next one we're going to have a look at is LNC. Okay, so that's the LNC daily. It spiked on Monday, I think it was, right up to 220. It's dipped pretty much right back into this range now, so it's probably sitting just on the top of this range, which was the tight range that it broke out of in the first place. Look at the last 3 days' volumes, and they've dropped off considerably. So we've got reducing volume on the dip. Now we want to see some increased volume on the break. We'll just have a look at an intraday chart as well. We'll go to a 5-minute chart or something like that, maybe a 15. There's a 30-minute chart. So you can see for the last 2 days now I've got quite a tight range starting to build, and so you could basically treat this 2-day tight range as a tight range play that I showed on a video a few nights ago based on a daily chart. So the most recent resistance was 189.5, but it struggled to get past 188.5. So it's only a cent the difference. So I'd probably take this 189.5, set my alert for there. And if it can break this little tight range, we may get a return to the upside and get that swing. More resistance there at 192 that would have to be taken into account again. So there's a possible tight range trade tomorrow or in the coming days. And again with that one, stop through the bottom of this, so position size accordingly, and that's where I'd be out if it can't break to the upside. I'm not sure if Link is shortable or not, but I doubt I'd be looking for the short scalp on the break to the downside, because there's quite a few levels of support back here through that chart. So definitely looks like an upside play if it can pull it off. Okay, one last one I'll have a look at. I'm not going to run through too many tonight. Just a little one of interest. This is GCL, Gloucester Coal, and that had a $12.60 takeover on it, which expired, as you can pretty much tell by the chart, in the beginning of October sometime. So you had to be on the register to take up that offer. Shareholders that hadn't taken up the offer obviously were left in a little bit of limbo, and the stocks plummeted all the way down from $12.60 down to $9.50 or so in the last few days. Now, interestingly, just in the last 2 days, it's bounced quite strongly back up to 10.25 on pretty decent volume. So this one might just be worth watching in case they come out and extend this $12.60 takeover offer to existing clients, to still holding clients. Because if they do, there's a very easy $2.35. Now that'll, I would imagine, happen pretty quickly if that comes out, but if news such as that comes out. But yeah, interesting action there, and there were quite a few sellers in the depth. I was watching the depth in this one. There were quite a few sellers, and the buyers seem to be raising that price against the sell depth. So yeah, one to watch possibly for tomorrow. Alright, that's all I've got for you tonight. Talk to you tomorrow.